What if the real reason diets and fasting stop working isn't about calories at all, but about a single hormone quietly sabotaging your fat loss? For so many people, it's not a lack of effort, it's that their body is stuck in fat storage mode because of chronically high insulin levels. Insulin is supposed to help shuttle nutrients into your cells, but when it's constantly elevated, your body loses the ability to burn fat efficiently. Instead of accessing stored energy, your metabolism gets locked down, your hunger increases, and even long fasting windows stop making a difference. This is why some people can do everything right, track their calories, exercise, even try keto, and still see minimal changes in their belly or visceral fat. The issue isn't willpower, it's insulin resistance. When your cells stop responding to insulin, your pancreas produces even more of it, and that excess insulin signals your body to keep storing fat, especially around your organs. This visceral fat isn't just cosmetic, it's the kind that drives inflammation, fatigue, and chronic disease. But the encouraging news is that you can flip this switch. You can teach your body to respond to insulin again, and when you do, it's like removing the brakes from your metabolism. In this video, we'll break down the science behind this process, and I'll share a simple, research-backed way to reset your insulin sensitivity naturally, no extreme fasting or impossible diets. Because when you understand what's happening inside your body, you can finally stop fighting against it, and that's where real, lasting fat loss begins. Have you ever felt like your body just refuses to burn fat no matter what you try? I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. What's been the hardest part for you on your journey? Insulin is one of the most powerful hormones in your body. Think of it as a master switch that controls whether your body is in fat burning mode or fat storing mode. Every time you eat, especially when your meal contains carbohydrates or sugar, your blood glucose levels rise. In response, your pancreas releases insulin, which acts like a key, unlocking your cells so glucose can enter and be used for energy. In a healthy system, insulin does its job, blood sugar returns to normal, and the body switches back to burning stored fat between meals. But the problem begins when insulin stays elevated all the time. In modern life, we rarely give our bodies a break. We snack constantly. Breakfast, mid-morning coffee with sugar lunch, afternoon pick, me-up dinner, and maybe something sweet before bed. Each of these eating moments spikes insulin, even if the portion seems small. Over time, this continuous drip of insulin signals the body that food is always available and energy doesn't need to be pulled from fat stores. So instead of burning fat, your body keeps storing it. When insulin remains high for months or years, your cells start to resist its signal. They stop responding properly. So your pancreas works even harder, releasing more insulin to push glucose into cells. This cycle, high blood sugar, high insulin, and growing resistance creates the perfect storm for stubborn weight gain, especially around the belly and internal organs. This visceral fat acts like an organ itself, producing inflammatory chemicals that make insulin resistance even worse. The tricky part is that many people with high insulin never notice the early signs. They may not have diabetes, their lab tests might look normal, but they feel tired after meals, crave sugar often, or notice that losing weight has become nearly impossible. What's happening under the surface is that their metabolism has become dependent on incoming glucose. When insulin is high, fat cells are locked, the body cannot easily tap into stored energy. Even if you exercise or cut calories, your cells still prefer to burn sugar first because insulin is telling them that energy storage is more important than energy release. This is why some people feel hungry all the time. The body has plenty of stored fat, but it's inaccessible. High insulin blocks the release of fatty acids from fat tissue, so your brain interprets this as low energy, pushing you to eat again. It's not lack of willpower, it's biochemistry. The body's fuel system is jammed in storage mode. Our modern diet makes this even worse. Processed foods, refined carbs, and constant grazing mean we're rarely in a truly fasted state. Compare this to how humans evolved. Periods of eating were followed by periods of rest and repair. Today, the average person's insulin levels never drop low enough for the body to shift gears into fat burning. It's like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. Eventually, the engine wears out. When insulin is chronically elevated, it doesn't just affect weight. It slows metabolism, increases inflammation, and can impact hormones related to hunger and stress. Ghrelin and leptin, the hormones that regulate appetite and fullness, become dysregulated, so you crave more food even when your body doesn't need it. Cortisol, the stress hormone, often rises alongside insulin, further encouraging fat storage, particularly in the abdominal area. The key to unlocking fat burning isn't about starving yourself or cutting calories to the extreme. It's about calming this hormonal chaos and allowing insulin levels to fall naturally. When insulin finally drops, your body remembers how to access stored fat for fuel. Energy becomes stable, cravings fade, and weight loss feels less like punishment and more like balance being restored. This understanding changes everything about how we approach diet and metabolism. Instead of obsessing over calories or the latest fad, it's about supporting your body's natural rhythm, giving it time between meals, choosing foods that don't cause sharp insulin spikes, and recognizing that sustainable fat loss starts at the hormonal level. Once you restore insulin sensitivity, the body doesn't have to be forced into fat loss. It simply remembers how to do it on its own. Traditional diets often promise quick results. Cut out carbs, skip meals, or fast longer. And in the short term, you might see the scale drop. But what many people don't realize is that these approaches often treat the symptom, not the cause. When it comes to stubborn fat, especially around the belly and organs, the deeper issue is insulin resistance. Diets like keto or long fasting windows can temporarily lower insulin levels and force the body to burn fat. But if the root hormonal imbalance isn't fixed, the body rebounds as soon as normal eating resumes. When you start keto, for example, you drastically reduce carbohydrate intake. This can cause an initial drop in insulin and water weight, which feels encouraging. But as time goes on, the body begins to adapt. If insulin sensitivity hasn't improved, even small amounts of carbs can cause big insulin spikes, leading to rapid fat regain. Similarly, long fasting windows, like 18 or 20 hours without food, can initially help reset insulin levels, but when done chronically, they can increase cortisol, the body's main stress hormone. High cortisol, in turn, raises blood sugar and indirectly raises insulin, pushing the body back into storage mode. So what starts as a metabolic reset can quietly turn into another cycle of stress and fat retention. Another reason traditional diets fail is that they often push the body into survival mode. Severe calorie restriction or rigid fasting triggers the body's ancient defense mechanisms. Your brain senses energy scarcity, so it slows down metabolism to preserve fuel. You might feel tired, cold, or mentally foggy, and because insulin resistance is still present, the body continues to prefer sugar as its main energy source instead of efficiently burning fat. When normal eating resumes, insulin levels surge again, and the weight quickly returns, sometimes even more than before. The body doesn't like extremes, it thrives on balance. And balance is exactly what insulin resistance disrupts. You can think of insulin as the conductor of your metabolism. When it's out of tune, no matter how strict your diet or how long you fast, your energy system won't flow smoothly. Real fat loss happens when insulin sensitivity is restored, when your cells learn to respond to insulin properly again. That's when your body can naturally transition between burning sugar and burning fat without feeling deprived. But here's where most people struggle: stress and poor sleep. Even if you're eating perfectly, high stress can keep insulin elevated. When you're under chronic stress, your body releases cortisol to keep you alert. Cortisol signals the liver to release glucose into the bloodstream for quick energy. In small bursts, this is helpful. But when stress is constant, work pressure, emotional strain, lack of rest, your blood sugar stays high and insulin follows. Over time, this combination of high cortisol and high insulin makes fat loss nearly impossible, especially around the midsection. Sleep deprivation works the same way. Just one night of poor sleep can make your body temporarily insulin resistant. You might notice stronger cravings the next day, especially for sugary or high-carb foods. That's because your body is trying to compensate for low energy. Lack of sleep disrupts leptin and ghrelin, the hormones that tell you when you're full or hungry, making it much harder to control your appetite. Over time, this cycle, poor sleep, more cravings, higher insulin, creates an environment where even the best diet can't deliver lasting results. Erratic eating patterns also play a role. Many people skip breakfast, eat little during the day, and then overeat at night. This pattern confuses your metabolism. Insulin stays high from large evening meals, and since your body doesn't need much energy during sleep, most of that food gets stored as fat. On the other hand, spreading balanced meals during the day, eating within daylight hours, and avoiding constant snacking can help insulin naturally decline between meals, giving the body a chance to access stored fat for fuel. The truth is, sustainable fat loss isn't about pushing harder, it's about working smarter with your hormones. Fasting, keto, or low-calorie diets can be useful tools, but only if they're paired with stress management, good sleep, and consistent eating patterns. When your lifestyle supports insulin sensitivity, your metabolism doesn't have to be forced into fat burning, it happens on its own. The goal isn't to punish your body into change, it's to create the right internal conditions for balance, healing, and natural energy flow. Once that happens, the fat that felt impossible to lose finally begins to melt away because your body remembers how to trust itself again. The body runs on a beautifully precise rhythm, and insulin is one of its timekeepers. When insulin is balanced, energy flows smoothly, you eat, your blood sugar rises slightly, insulin helps move nutrients into cells. And then levels drop again, allowing your body to burn stored fat between meals. But when insulin stays elevated all day, that rhythm gets disrupted. The key to restoring it lies in a deceptively simple, science-backed method: strategic food timing and pairing. This approach isn't about restriction or extreme fasting. It's about eating in a way that keeps blood sugar steady so insulin rises gently instead of spiking. The idea is to give your body predictable signals, periods of nourishment followed by periods of rest, so it can return to its natural fat burning state. When insulin levels stay balanced, your cells become more sensitive to it again. That's when fat metabolism switches back on. Here's what happens on a physiological level. Every time you eat, glucose enters your bloodstream. The more refined or fast digesting the food, the sharper the glucose rise. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin to move that glucose into cells for energy. If your meal is made up mostly of simple carbs like white bread, sweets, or processed snacks, blood sugar spikes quickly, insulin floods in, and the excess glucose is stored as fat, often in the liver and around the organs. The crash that follows leaves you tired and craving more sugar, continuing the cycle. But when you pair foods strategically, protein, healthy fats, and fiber together with carbs, the digestive process slows down. The glucose from the meal enters the bloodstream gradually, so your body doesn't need to release a surge of insulin. It's a slower, steadier response that keeps you full longer and prevents the roller coaster of energy crashes. This balance helps the body shift from sugar burning to fat burning in the hours between meals. One of the simplest versions of this trick is to eat protein or fiber before carbs. Research shows that eating protein or fiber first can reduce the post-meal glucose spike by up to 30-40%. For example, having a handful of nuts or some grilled chicken before rice or bread changes the entire metabolic response. The insulin release becomes smaller and more efficient, meaning less fat is stored and more energy is available for the body to use. Meal timing adds another layer to this strategy. Insulin sensitivity isn't constant throughout the day. It's highest in the morning and gradually declines by night. That means your body processes food more efficiently during daylight hours. Eating most of your calories earlier in the day, ideally finishing dinner 203 hours before bed, gives your body time to let insulin drop overnight. During this low insulin period, your body taps into stored fat for fuel, essentially performing an overnight fat reset without extended fasting. This timing also supports your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates hormones, digestion, and metabolism. When you align your eating schedule with daylight, your cells become more responsive to insulin, inflammation decreases, and fat oxidation increases. In contrast, late night eating keeps insulin elevated into your sleeping hours, blocking fat burning and disrupting hormonal repair cycles. What's powerful about this method is that it doesn't require cutting out entire food groups. You're not forcing your body into deprivation, you're teaching it to function the way it was designed to. When insulin levels stop fluctuating wildly, your metabolism regains flexibility. Your body can smoothly switch between burning glucose after meals and burning fat between them. This is called metabolic flexibility, the hallmark of a healthy metabolism. People often report feeling more energized, less hungry, and mentally clearer once they stabilize their insulin through food timing and pairing. This happens because blood sugar stability directly affects brain chemistry. Steady insulin means steady energy to the brain, reduced cravings, and better mood regulation. When you no longer ride the highs and lows of sugar spikes, it's easier to make healthier food choices and stay consistent. Over time, these small adjustments retrain your body. As insulin sensitivity improves, your pancreas doesn't have to overwork. Fat cells begin to release stored energy again. The stubborn weight that seemed resistant starts to move because the hormonal environment has shifted from storage to release. And unlike crash diets or extreme fasting, this method is sustainable. It's built on understanding your body's natural design and working with it instead of against it. Balancing insulin through mindful food pairing and timing is more than a weight loss tactic. It's a full metabolic reset. It restores communication between your cells and hormones, stabilizes your energy throughout the day, and quietly reactivates your body's internal fat burning system. When your meals support hormonal balance instead of fighting it, fat loss stops being a struggle and becomes a natural side effect of metabolic health. When insulin levels begin to stabilize, something remarkable happens inside the body. It's as if a locked door finally swings open, allowing energy to flow freely again. For months or even years, high insulin has been signaling your body to store fat, particularly around your midsection and internal organs. This visceral fat is the most stubborn and the most dangerous because it doesn't just sit there. It actively releases inflammatory molecules that disrupt hormones, slow metabolism, and drain energy. But when insulin drops to healthy levels, the body receives a new message: it's safe to release stored fat for fuel. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but the process is incredibly powerful. When insulin isn't constantly elevated, fat cells start to release fatty acids into the bloodstream. These are transported to the liver and muscles, where they're converted into energy. You might notice that instead of feeling hungry or fatigued between meals, your energy becomes more stable. That's a clear sign your metabolism is starting to rebalance. Your body is learning once again how to burn its own fuel efficiently rather than constantly relying on quick energy from food. Visceral fat is particularly responsive to this change because it's highly insulin sensitive. When insulin drops, this deep belly fat becomes one of the first sources of fuel your body taps into. As it burns away, inflammation decreases, blood sugar stabilizes, and hormones begin to communicate more clearly. Many people notice they think more clearly, sleep better, and have more consistent energy throughout the day. This isn't just weight loss, it's a full body recalibration. What's really happening is a return to metabolic flexibility, the body's ability to effortlessly switch between burning glucose when food is available and burning fat when it's not. When you're metabolically flexible, you're not dependent on constant snacks or caffeine to get through the day. You can go longer between meals without irritability or brain fog because your body knows how to tap into its energy reserves. This is one of the most liberating signs of healing. Your metabolism starts working for you instead of against you. You might also notice your sleep improves as insulin balance returns. High insulin and high blood sugar can disrupt your natural sleep-wake rhythm, causing nighttime hunger restlessness. As insulin normalizes, cortisol and melatonin, two hormones that influence stress and sleep, also stabilize. Falling asleep becomes easier, and your body is able to focus on deep repair during the night. Better sleep further supports fat metabolism since growth hormone, one of the body's main fat-burning hormones, is released during deep rest. It's a virtuous cycle. Lower insulin improves sleep, and better sleep lowers insulin even more. Mental clarity is another profound benefit. The brain runs primarily on glucose, but can also use ketones, which are produced when fat is burned. When your body begins burning stored fat again, these ketones provide a steady source of fuel for the brain. Unlike the quick highs and lows of blood sugar fluctuations, ketones create a calm, sustained mental energy. Many people describe it as a sense of focus they haven't felt in years, less foggy thinking, fewer energy crashes, and a general feeling of mental lightness. All of this happens because your internal energy economy becomes efficient again. Instead of storing every calorie as fat, your body begins to circulate energy intelligently, using what it needs, storing what's necessary, and releasing the rest when appropriate. You start to feel in sync with your body, not at war with it. The cravings for sugar and processed foods diminish naturally, not through discipline, but because your body no longer needs them to maintain balance. True fat loss, the kind that lasts, isn't about punishing yourself or constantly restricting food. It's a reflection of healing. It means your body trusts itself again, your cells are communicating properly, your hormones are balanced, and energy is flowing where it's meant to. You don't need to force the process, you just need to support it. As visceral fat melts away, you might find your mood lifting too. Chronic inflammation from excess visceral fat often fuels anxiety, fatigue, and irritability. When that inflammation subsides, your nervous system calms down. You feel lighter emotionally, more grounded, more at peace in your own body. The beauty of insulin balance is that it doesn't just change how you look, it changes how you feel and function. Your body becomes adaptable, resilient, and self-sustaining again. The renewed energy, improved focus, and steady calm you experience aren't signs of deprivation. They're signals that your metabolism has healed. Fat loss becomes a byproduct of harmony, not of struggle. It's your body's way of saying, I'm working the way I was meant to. The best part about restoring insulin balance is that it doesn't require perfection. It's not about overhauling your life overnight. It's about small, consistent shifts that help your body feel safe again. When your body feels safe, it begins to heal. These daily habits are simple, realistic, and can fit into nearly any routine, no matter how busy life gets. Start with meal timing. One of the easiest ways to help your body lower insulin naturally is to give it space between meals. Instead of constant grazing, aim for 3 balanced meals and try to go at least 3 to 4 hours between them. This gives insulin time to fall, allowing your body to tap into stored fat for energy. You don't need to do extreme fasting, just create gentle pauses where your body can rest from digestion. Finishing dinner a few hours before bed can make a big difference too, since insulin sensitivity is highest during the day and lowest at night. Balanced meals are the next key. Every time you eat, you have a chance to stabilize blood sugar or spike it. Think of your plate as a combination of protein, healthy fats, fiber, and slow carbohydrates. Protein is essential. It steadies your blood sugar and keeps you full longer. Pairing it with fiber from vegetables or whole grains slows digestion, while healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, or avocado help prevent energy crashes. Instead of focusing on restriction, focus on balance. For example, if you love toast in the morning, add eggs or Greek yogurt alongside it. A simple adjustment like that changes the entire hormonal response to the meal. Stress management might be one of the most overlooked parts of insulin balance. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol to keep you alert. This hormone tells your liver to release glucose for quick energy, which then raises insulin. Over time, chronic stress can undo even the best eating habits. You can't always eliminate stress, but you can change how your body processes it. Simple practices like slow breathing, a few minutes of stretching, journaling, or even stepping outside for sunlight can lower cortisol and help insulin normalize. The key is consistency. Small daily moments of calm are more powerful than rare, dramatic ones. Sleep is another pillar of metabolic health. Insufficient or irregular sleep makes your body temporarily insulin resistant, increasing cravings and making fat loss harder. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep and try to maintain a regular schedule. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same times helps your body regulate hormones naturally. You can create a simple bedtime routine. Dim the lights, avoid screens for the last half hour, and let your mind unwind. Quality sleep isn't a luxury. It's one of the most effective fat-burning tools you have because it restores hormonal balance every night. Hydration also plays a quiet but powerful role. Even mild dehydration raises stress hormones and can interfere with insulin signaling. Water helps transport nutrients, flushes out excess glucose, and supports liver function, the organ that manages fat metabolism. Starting your morning with a glass of water before coffee can help stabilize your energy. Adding a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon can replace lost minerals, especially if you're sweating or exercising. Staying hydrated keeps your metabolism running smoothly and reduces fatigue that might otherwise lead to sugar cravings. You don't need to implement everything at once. The real change happens through awareness. Noticing how your body feels after different foods, how your mood shifts with sleep, or how a short walk after meals steadies your energy. Each habit builds on the next. Maybe you start by eating your last meal earlier, then focus on adding more protein, and later work on improving your sleep rhythm. Over time, these micro adjustments create a powerful compounding effect. What's most important is your mindset. Healing insulin resistance isn't about punishment or deprivation. It's about rebuilding trust with your body. Instead of seeing food as the enemy, you start seeing it as information. Every bite, every breath, every night of good rest tells your body, you're safe. You don't need to hold on to fat anymore. That's the kind of gentle consistency that creates lasting transformation. When you make these small daily choices, eating in balance, managing stress, sleeping deeply, staying hydrated, you're teaching your body to function in harmony again. Insulin levels drop naturally, energy rises steadily, and fat loss becomes a reflection of inner balance. It's not about chasing quick results. It's about creating a rhythm that supports your health long term. And the more you align with that rhythm, the easier it becomes to feel strong, clear, and in control of your own body again. When insulin finally returns to balance, something deeper than weight loss happens. Your body begins to heal at the root. For so long, most of us have been taught to fight our bodies into submission, eat less, move more, push harder. But the truth is, sustainable fat loss doesn't come from force, it comes from cooperation. When insulin is balanced, your body's natural systems start working together again. Metabolism, hunger cues, hormones, and energy all fall back into sync. The result isn't just a leaner body, it's a calmer mind, a steadier mood, and a deep sense of well-being that lasts. This is what long-term metabolic healing looks like. It's not a sprint or a strict challenge. It's a gradual return to the way your body was designed to function. Each time you eat balanced meals, sleep deeply, manage stress, and move your body, you're reinforcing that sense of safety and rhythm your metabolism depends on. Over time, your cells become more responsive to insulin. They communicate more clearly, energy flows more efficiently, and inflammation, one of the biggest disruptors of health, begins to fade. You start waking up with stable energy instead of grogginess, you stop craving sugar constantly, and you notice that your body feels lighter. Not because you're depriving it, but because it's finally free to work the way it's meant to. What's powerful about this process is that it's self-sustaining. Once insulin sensitivity improves, your metabolism becomes flexible again. You can enjoy occasional treats or social meals without throwing your body off balance because your cells now know how to handle it. You're no longer trapped in cycles of restriction and rebound. You're living in a state of metabolic resilience. This resilience means your body can adapt to stress, to changes in routine, even to aging, without losing its equilibrium. It's important to remember that healing insulin resistance takes time. It's not about being perfect every day, it's about being consistent enough for your body to trust the process. Progress often happens quietly. You may not see dramatic changes right away, but subtle shifts, less brain fog, fewer crashes, steadier moods, are signs that your metabolism is coming back online. Every small victory counts. Each day you choose balance over extremes, you're building long-term health from the inside out. Self-compassion is a crucial part of this journey. The habits that lead to insulin resistance, chronic stress, poor sleep, irregular eating, often come from doing our best to survive in a demanding world. You're not broken or lazy. Your body has simply been protecting you the only way it knows how, when you start to care for it differently. With nourishment instead of punishment, it responds. Healing isn't about control, it's about connection. Supporting insulin balance also benefits that go far beyond weight. Stable insulin improves brain health, heart function, and even emotional regulation. Many people find their anxiety decreases, their focus sharpens, and their energy feels more grounded. That's because your brain thrives on steady fuel, and your hormones communicate more clearly when insulin isn't constantly fluctuating. Your mood evens out, your cravings fade, and you begin to feel emotionally lighter. This is what true metabolic wellness feels like, not chasing results, but living in alignment with your body's natural rhythm. The beauty of this approach is its sustainability. You don't have to rely on willpower or rigid plans. Instead, you create habits that become second nature, eating mostly whole foods, spacing meals, prioritizing rest, managing stress, and staying hydrated. These aren't temporary fixes, they're long-term forms of self-care that maintain your hormonal balance effortlessly. When insulin is balanced, your body no longer clings to fat for protection. It lets go because it finally feels safe to do so. Lasting weight loss isn't about restriction, it's about restoration. It's about reminding your body that it can trust you again. The moment you stop fighting against your biology and start working with it, everything shifts. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building a foundation of health that supports you for life. So as you move forward, focus less on perfection and more on rhythm. The rhythm of balanced meals, restful nights, deep breaths, and moments of stillness. These are the quiet choices that reset your metabolism and allow your body to thrive. Healing insulin resistance is not about changing who you are. It's about returning to your natural state of balance, where energy flows freely, fat loss happens naturally, and your body feels like home again.